I see people break. Sometimes they don't come back. Sometimes they have a few fights, lose, and then that's it. They're gone from the sport when they really could have had everything they wanted. And if you have the mindset of it's all or nothing, is very different to, well, I'm all in, regardless of what happened. If I lose a fight, if I get injured, whatever it is, I'm all in. I'll give everything I have and that I can on each day. As far as I know, but I was the first person to hold 3 titles in 3 different weight divisions at the same time. So that is flyweight, bantamweight, and featherweight. So that's 10 kilos between.
So thanks for coming back, everybody, on the Rear Naked Truth podcast. This is a really exciting episode for me because this is our first international episode, and we have an Aussie-born fighter here, Danielle Curtis, Drop Bear.
Drop Bear, that's the one.
You're going to have to give me the meaning of that before we even kick off any further.
Easy. I mean, so you've never heard about drop bears. They're like one of the most feared creatures in Australia.
Kangaroos, Tasmanian tigers, and big-ass spiders is what I've been accustomed to.
I mean, Australia is full of deadly creatures, and a lot of them are really small and scary. But no, drop bears are basically a bigger, much nastier relative of a koala.
Okay.
They obviously live in the trees, but instead of eating eucalyptus, they drop out of the trees and eat. They attack people. So,
Jesus.
So that's why it's one of the most feared creatures in Australia, and that's one of the things that Aussies will always tell tourists, like, don't just go walking around in the bush.
Mm-hmm.
And so obviously drop bear, very iconic amongst Australians creature. I'm proudly Australian.
Yeah.
So and you know, works to me and my fight style. So
Gave it to you.
it was kind of a collective thing. It's actually quite a funny story. I obviously, back in the day, all of the like MMA related news used to break first on Twitter.
Yeah.
So I used to be on Twitter like whenever a fight card was on, and I made friends with a really random group of people from all over the world. There were some Americans, some Canadians, some people from the UK, some people from literally just all different countries. And we used to just kind of like tweet when the UFC was on.
Like live tweeting during...
Yeah. And so then we made like a little group chat and stuff. And then I was, started training and I was going to fight and all of those kind of things. And I remember we were chatting about Australia. Someone shared a video of this guy in the river playing with a snake. A snake like swam at him. Yeah. He picked it up. He threw it. The snake swam back at him, and he's holding this giant beer, like a long neck of VB in one hand, while he's just chucking this snake completely unfazed. And everyone in the chat was like, "You Australians are crazy. Like everything in Australia will try and kill you. Sharks, snakes, spiders, kangaroos." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, and drop bears." And they're like, "Drop bears? What are you talking about?" And then I told them what a drop bear was. I sent them some links, and they were like, "Oh my God, Australia is horrible. Like, why don't we know about this? Why?" And then they were kind of like, why doesn't Australia have like a team, like the something drop bears, like Darwin drop bears or something? I'm like, well, it's just like an Australian thing. So I don't know. You don't know all of our animals.
Sure.
And then they were kind of like, there needs to be a fighter, and then they kind of just immediately like, you have to be drop bear. And it goes with my name, Danielle Drop Bear Curtis, and then it just...
I think it sounds badass.
Yeah, it's stuck, and it's very me. I'm very proudly Australian. As I said, it suits me, my fight style. Like it just, and then that's what it's become. I am drop bear.
I love that. I mean, that is far more badass than some friends I have in the community and their nicknames. I won't embarrass them by naming them right now. But you're 32, right?
I'm a little older than that now.
That's okay. I'm older, much older.
I just turned 34 and...
Okay. I'm sorry. You started getting into the sport though close to your 30s or?
Yeah, about 26. Mm-hmm. So I think like maybe a month before I turned 26. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I definitely would have loved to have gotten into it a lot younger, but I didn't have any exposure to it where I grew up. It wasn't until I moved and went to university that I actually even knew that combat sports existed other than maybe boxing. Like I think everybody knew that boxing from movies and stuff was a sport, but had never seen MMA until I moved away to university because I'm from a very small, tiny town in the middle of nowhere in Australia.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of the people who are staying in this house with us too, if they show up at any point, they might even be from a smaller town in the middle of America as well. So
yeah.
A lot of small town vibes, and oddly enough, they always seem to create the best fighters.
Yeah, well, I mean, I fought it so many different ways. I fought from lightweight to flyweight.
Okay.
Yeah. It's hard being a girl finding fight.
It's hard on your body too. Yeah.
Yeah. So in my amateur career, I'm, as far as I know, and no one has ever corrected me or told me anyone else, but I was the first person to hold 3 titles in 3 different weight divisions at the same time. So that is flyweight, bantamweight, and featherweight. So that's 10 kilos between.
Jesus. Was it harder to gain the weight or to lose the weight?
Well,
because gaining weight can be as difficult too if it's the right weight, right?
Yeah. Yeah, fighting big people is hard. It's scary.
I don't want to fight anybody, but I surround myself with fighters, so
yeah.
It's just, I mean, and a lot of them too, it seems as though you kind of exhaust one weight class. It's like, all right, let's test going up. And you're testing them all just to keep active?
Well, yeah, because as I said, like finding fight regionally is hard. And as a female, very, very hard. So I just literally took any fight that I could get in my amateur career. So the very beginning of my amateur career, not great. Because obviously, 1, I'd barely train. 2, I just took any fight at any weight. So I fought people that had entire amateur and professional careers in Muay Thai, and I'd had 2 fights.
Yeah.
You know, I fought people that were multiple weight divisions bigger than me. I just was like, I just want to fight. It's amateur. I don't care. But yeah, it was just for experience. But when I fought in Canada, so that was meant to be like, I wanted a 125 fight. They couldn't find me anyone at 125, so I was meant to be a catch weight. But then my opponent got injured, and Lexi, who was the co-main event, her opponent got injured. So then they asked me, and this was literally not even a week before I was meant to get on the plane to go over there. They asked me to fight her, and I was like, cool, so can we do a catch weight?
Yeah.
I am coming off of fighting at 125, and I'd already said I'll come up to a catch weight. And her team were like, no, 135. And I was like, can we do like, instead of 61 kilos, 60? Like, can we do 134?
Yeah.
No. I was like anything. And they were like, no. And I was worried that she was going to be giant. So, and this was the thing, the commission was busy the night before the show. So the weigh-ins were going to be 48 hours. So 2 days before, right?
Okay.
So they were the Thursday night for a Saturday show.
Okay.
Right? So that's why I was like pushing, well, can we come down a little bit in weight? Because you're going to have 2 full days to rehydrate. And they were like, nah. I was like, can we get rid of the scale allowance? So you can't come in at 136 and be 130.
I think that's fair, actually.
And they said no. And so I was like,
was it for a belt?
No, it's just a regular fight. And so I that was the only thing that I was a little worried about. But I said yes to the fight. I said, yep, I'll fight her. I don't care. Like, I just want to go to Canada. I just want to fight. Even though it was, pro. And and this is the thing. I'm like, try to look at these things as opportunities and not just risks. So I was like, well, what do I gain if I go over there and beat her? Because she was the poster girl too. She was the she was the person in the middle of
that promotion
for the show.
Yeah.
Which is why she was co-main. And there was so much hype around her because she was at a Leon Edwards camp and she was coming off some nice finishes and stuff. And yeah, I said yes. And then that was the only thing I was worried about. I was like, I knew I had the skills to beat her, but I was worried that I was going to get there and she'd been fucking giant and had cut like crazy amount of weight, knowing she had 2 full days to rehydrate. She wasn't. We were like the same size. And I'm like, I normally fight at 125. And so as soon as I saw her in real life, I was like, oh, I got this.
Yeah.
It was literally, I turned to Jared and was like, oh, she's not that big.
Yeah.
We got this.
So having gotten into the sport that late, turning pro in your 30s, right? Is there pros and cons to that, you think?
Yeah, I think so. Like, it's also a lot of things at play because I'm female, and obviously there's less females than there are males, and people are still sort of getting into the sport. So it can also be difficult to find opponents.
Yeah.
So that changes the dynamic a little bit. I think women peak later in life than men.
I had a question exactly asking.
Yeah, I think they peak a lot later, and they also peak for a lot longer. Okay. So we look at a lot of the females in the UFC at the moment, they're like nearly 40.
Yeah.
Some of the top women, and the top guys are all over 30 as well. But pros and cons, I definitely think being a little bit older, I'm going to say helps you potentially like prioritize and be really clear with what you want. And you've got some life experience as well. So you know that you want this, and it's not just, it's not just on a whim or something that you kind of just thought of as a kid and are going to try it. And, you have backing and experience to sort of say, no, I do truly want this, and I'm going to truly work for it. And to make a decision when you are older to go against people younger, like you have to back yourself. But I also think you bring like knowledge and experience, maybe not at what you're doing when you're starting, but just in terms of understanding what the impact's going to be.
Yeah.
You understand that you're giving up X, Y, and Z, where I think
it's not like taking on pottery or something like that. It's quite a commitment to get into combat sports. Yeah.
And I think the younger guys getting into the sport often don't know what they're giving up until they're just experiencing it, which can create that bit of identity crisis and stuff as well. So there's pros and cons. Like, obviously, I'm older. I feel the pressure of time. I feel the pressure of, like, are the big stages not going to want me because I'm older? But then I know that I can shut that down by just having good performances. And
100%.
And as I said, as a female, there's a bit more time than probably what there would be if I was a male. But again, we hear Dana say, I don't want to take 30-year-olds, yet he continuously does it every week on Contender Series if they put on a good fight.
I also think there's a flip side to that too, though, right? Like, you take a 17-year-old in Rosas Jr. And, there are I don't want to call them negative, but there's the obvious obstacles in front of that too, right? Specifically as a male though, right? Like, you're bringing up good points as a female and when they physically peak, but as a male, he's not physically peaking for maybe over 10 more years, if not closer to 15. And you're not seeing the best version. And to your point, perhaps you don't ever get to the best version, and what if that person gets cut? So I'm seeing a lot of positives too in being more established as a person, both physically and mentally.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think that sometimes it's like that whole thing of getting to the top early and then realizing what it's cost you a little bit too late. Like, we see a lot of the younger fighters have these issues where once they get injured or, their fight falls through or something happens, that they just spiral out of control mentally because all they know and all they've ever been is a fighter. So they tie their identity to being a fighter. If I can't fight because I'm injured, I'm worthless. Whereas it's like, at least if you have done other things in your life or, you have that understanding that, being a fighter is part of who I am. It's not my whole being. I feel like that's quite hard too, and the pressure and all of that. I think there's a lot of wisdom that comes with being a little bit older, getting into the sport. Like, you're very, very highly aware of the repercussions, the costs.
Yeah.
And that you're like sacrifices, and you're willfully choosing that. Like, you want it. You're not kind of just like, oh, this is the journey I set out for myself and I'm just following the path.
I think blind optimism, right, in more, younger fighters is, it can be a powerful thing, but I think it also can be, it can be blinding to a degree as well. And I feel as though there's this trend that I'm seeing, curious on your thoughts, of the sort of rapid fire growth of these young athletes in combat sports today, wherein, you know, the need to get to a championship or to get to a ranked number behind your name is so, you know, fiery and desirable that some of the growth, you know, moments, the growth spurts, the growing pains, so to speak, you know, you miss those. And I think that can negatively impact you as well.
Yeah. And I think, like, I feel like I experienced and saw an example of this too. When I went and competed at the Gamma World Championships, which was Pro-Am, I was an amateur at the time. And so we went to Amsterdam is where it was that year. And obviously in Australia, it's a booming sport, right? Yeah. But there's still a lower percent of our population that do the sport. So we don't get the opportunity. Like, we can't just fight every weekend. Yeah. You can't get opponents. And I'm not saying just as a female, like, obviously as a female, it's even worse. It's even harder. But even the guys, like, even the amateurs who are wanting to back up, fight, like maybe 3 fights a year, maybe 4. But that's where you also see a lot of progression between fights with the fighters on the Australian regional scene versus when we went to Amsterdam, we saw guys in the same weight divisions. Like, we were like, oh, you know, some of our guys maybe have only had 4 fights. Oh, this guy's had from America or from Brazil or from wherever. Oh, they've had 20 amateur fights. Level, like, I think our 5-fight Amis are the level of 20, 25 fight guys from other countries, because as you were saying, sometimes when in just the quest of, I need to beat someone, I need another fight, I need to go as fast as possible, is that you're not taking the time, like when you're doing back-to-back camps, you're fighting every few weeks, you're just doing tournaments. You're not actually taking time in between to build and get better and learn new things. You're pretty much just sharpening the tools that you already have. Yeah. And I feel like that's like a very tangible example of it, sort of exactly what you're saying, is that sometimes in rushing, sure, you may get to like part of, like, you might get into you might become pro really early and you might get to the UFC, but sometimes rushing it as well, you're never going to be champion. You might only make it to the UFC, or you might get cut before you reach your peak, you know, all of those kind of things as well.
You said something that kind of flipped the preconceived notion I had of, and this is just sort of a general statement on Australian MMA, around the, like, her, you know, the density essentially of MMA fighters within this, you know, within this country, within this continent. Because when you go to the ceremonials like we did last night, when I'm, you know, meeting, you know, locals out on the street and talking about what we're doing here, the energy and the enthusiasm for it is very indicative of a much larger population of people. Yeah. It's misleading almost.
It is. So a lot of fans, and I think it's also because Australians are very passionate people. So you could meet a 0.001% of our population that really loves something. You will know about it. Yeah. We are very passionate people.
There were some passionate people to ceremonials last night. It was hilarious.
Yes. And when Australians get behind something, especially obviously very patriotic, we will always support other Australians. So I think it's one of those things where, like, those people are fans, though not many of them are fighters. Yeah. And not many of them will even train necessarily. But again, I would say that more people, even in our own country, probably know Volk as Cooking with Volk than what they do as UFC champion. I mean,
I love the show too, but
I would say that 95% of Australia wouldn't know who Robert Whittaker is. Yeah. But the 5% that watch combat sports will go to everything that he's at. Will you know, scream and yell and chant and all of those things.
I mean, Volk said in an article leading up to tomorrow's event, he said that, you know, when he fought in Perth, I believe, which is obviously nowhere near here, but like when he fought there, he didn't get the same reception as he knows he's going to get here. And I mean, he's from what? It's like an hour away from here, maybe, or less.
Yeah, yeah. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Wollongong.
I said that right.
Yeah, you did.
Perfect.
Good job.
Practicing that. That's just a really interesting tidbit for me. I wasn't expecting to see that because my experience, because I'm passionate about the sport, with, natives around here has been just so, we can't wait. We can't not help but talk about it. But I wanted to touch on something else that you were saying too. The idea of, quantity of amateur fights. You got what, 6-4 record, 6-5 record total?
Yeah. So 12 amateur fights. Then I had a Mod Thai and a Muay Thai fight as well. So like, if you count them for,
of course, count everything.
14 fights.
Yeah.
Which is considered very long, I guess, here. That is probably a lot of fights. But also, I probably only trained for like less than 6 months before I had my first fight.
That's impressive.
And I just
look like you've been doing it a really long time, honestly.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
Very much.
But I just, wanted to, as soon as I saw the sport, I fell in love with it and I became like the biggest fan. I was a super fan.
Yeah.
Like I used to do the UFC pick'ems every card, and I once placed 11th in the world. And I was a super fan, and I didn't think that I would ever do the sport.
Yeah.
And then it's actually a Muay Thai gym that opened up right where I was working. So I went in there, and I was only there for a few months, and then I realized I was like, nah, MMA is my passion.
Awesome.
And that coach helped me find my first MMA coach, and then I was like, oh, well, I just love the sport, so I'll just start training. Just started training, and then I was like, oh, I want to have a fight. And then I had my first fight, and I was like, let's run it till the wheels fall off and see how far we can go.
I love that. I think you meet a lot of people who don't have that. There's athletes, right, who maybe the sport of concentration kind of left them a little behind, or the interest with it, the energy around it was lost, and then they go to fighting because they're so athletic. So to hear somebody get exposed to the sport, fall in love with it to the point of, making it their lifestyle, I think that's awesome. That's encouraging.
Well, it's interesting you say that too about being athletic, because I was not. And it still blows my mind every time someone calls me an athlete, because I was so non-athletic growing up.
I wanted to talk about that.
I tried really hard. I really liked sport. Really liked it. I loved the team aspect. I loved the working hard part. I wanted to do really well. And I was from a tiny little country town in the middle of nowhere. Next town in any directions, an hour and a half away.
Damn.
And, when I say tiny, I mean there's no chain stores, there's no movies, no Maccas, no...
1,000 people?
Yeah, supposedly a couple thousand, but that includes all of the land, either side of the town. There's definitely not that many people. A couple of hundred people. That's the entire school. And we only had one high school. Yeah.
Everybody knows everybody's situation.
Everybody knows everybody. So, what's the easiest way to get a day off school? Do any sport, because you have to drive an hour and a half to go play the sport against the next school.
Yeah.
And I was a nerd, but I just loved the concept of sport. I loved the teamwork, the hard work, the working towards a goal. And so I tried really, really, really hard. I was terrible. And
what sports?
Everything. Literally anything. Everything. Every single team, every single sport, anything. I would give it a go.
You look in all of your fights, I mean, you have such good body control and your technique is awesome. I just find that hard to believe. Are you making this up maybe?
No, you can go back and watch. If you were to ask my parents, my friends, my teachers that I would be an athlete, they probably would have laughed at you. But I tried for everything. And so, and I did everything. I actually won senior girl athlete in year 11 or something, purely from going in every single event at the swimming carnival and the running carnival. I went in everything.
Yeah.
And because by that stage in high school, it's kind of uncool to try things. So you get everyone that just does the one or two events that they're good at. The runners would do the short distance run, long distance guys would do that. But I'm from a tiny school.
Yeah.
So there would literally be me and maybe 2 people in every event. So I would consistently come like 3rd or 4th.
Yeah. I think when I was in my 11th year, I got most likely to cause a scene. That was the only award I got. So I'm proud of you, you know, considering I had no athletic accolades really to mention. But I mean, you also said, though, on that same train of thought that the mental side of fighting was really what drew you to it as well.
Yeah.
The challenge of it.
Yeah. I don't know. I just found it so fascinating. Like, you've got these people that are elite athletes, and I think that combat sports, specifically MMA, is the most elite athletes because you have to be everything. Mm-hmm. There's no, like most other sports, there's a certain physical characteristics that are the general sort of body type that you want, or the general, you know.
You need a certain agility, or you need hand-eye coordination.
Yeah, or like, yes. Basketballers are tall.
Yep.
Like swimmers have big shoulders and long limbs, you know, all of those kind of things. There was nothing about that with MMA. So you have to be all of the things, but not only that, there was no set one way to do the sport. Yep. Everyone was training differently. You had all these different body types. You had all of these different like personalities. You have like, it was something that you could have the same people fight 100 times and those fights would be different every time. But it was just also fascinating to see how each individual person puts it together.
Yeah.
And puts it together differently. And you worry about showcasing what you're good at, hiding what you're not good at, and finding a way to win. And like the grit, the toughness, the determination of these fighters, but also that it really is like human chess, as in there is such a intelligence to fighters as well. Even back in the day, like to make
more singly dimensional, right? Like you were either a wrestler or you were a jiu-jitsu grappler or you were a striker. Now it's blending all of those all the time.
Yeah, and I find that just so fascinating, and I feel like it's just like the purest form of competition that there is. And I just thought that the sport itself was so fascinating, and that there was no singular characteristic that made anyone better than anyone else. It was all about how you, as a person, put it together as a package, and how you utilize your skills and your opponent's weaknesses. And it's that sort of chess match of adapting within a fight, but also just kind of understanding all of those attributes. And I just thought that was so amazing, and just like mental toughness, resilience, determination, like all the qualities that you see in fighters is just amazing.
It's on display. Do you know anything about American football at all?
A little bit, but not a lot.
I make a comparison quite a lot about, you know what the quarterback position is? Yeah, the guy who's taking the snap, throwing the ball. I liken MMA athletes to that position in American football a lot, because they have to know what everybody's doing at all times. They have to be fast, big, strong. They have to be accurate. They have to be, you know, resilient. And that, I think, emulates exactly what it takes to be an MMA fighter.
They make decisions under pressure.
Yes.
And, like, the whole team leans on them. Like, there's repercussions to their decision. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's this, I like to ask every fighter that I speak with this question. When, and you know, have you approached it yet, too? When you're in there is, you know, when you reach, you know, that kind of blowing up term right now, flow state, do you find that you're reacting instinctively, or you're truly thinking ahead? Like, do you have the wherewithal in a moment of pure performance where you're actually beginning to see this is happening, I can exploit it that way in this next upcoming moment? Does that come to fruition for you?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
So, like, one of my biggest things is always doing absolutely everything I can in camp so that I walk into fight night free in my head. No ifs, ands, buts. I fight day, from the moment I wake up, I live in the now. I live in the present. Nothing exists to me previous. I don't think about what I could have done, what I should have done, what I did do. I don't think about what my opponent's done. They don't exist to me until I see them in the cage. And I literally just am so present that I am seeing and thinking and taking into account all the things that are happening. Yes, stuff does happen like automatically, as in like because you've trained it that way.
Yeah.
But in the same way that as you train it and you can, have thoughts, feelings when you spar, for me, all of that comes out during my fight. So I'm like hyper aware, not just of what my opponent's doing, of I'm listening for what's the time. And then like, if I know it, we're getting to the back end of the round, that's like, you got to push, you got to put a stamp on it. Like, even just consciously aware of sort of where I think I'm at in terms of who's winning around. But yeah, just hyper present. And yeah, I seem to download information. So the longer that the fight goes, I think what makes me dangerous is like that I'm well enough rounded, and I have a high fight IQ that I download information, I get better as a fight goes on. And it's exactly what you're saying, that you hit that kind of flow state, which I just think is just being hyper present. And if nothing else exists, you're seeing, you're reacting, you're doing, and being able to adapt.
What does the sacrifice take pre-fight, so training camp, and then maybe even post-fight, regardless of the outcome, on things like, your bandwidth, your peripherals for the relationships around you, your mental health for that matter? I know that there's got to be a toll taken to be that focused on any one thing for that long, regardless if your training camp is 4 weeks or, your standard 8 to 10. What is that like for you?
Yeah, there's always sacrifices. And it is one of those things, like I try to be as present as I can in everything that I am doing, but obviously you do obsess, right? Like there are moments where all you're thinking about is your training, what you did well, what you didn't do good. You're replaying things in your head, you're rewatching footage, so you're taking time away from doing anything else. I do try and balance things to at least still have bits and pieces of time where I will try and close off and dedicate to spending time with my partner, maybe seeing friends or whatever. But you certainly cut back on a lot of that because you're so sort of tunnel vision. But I think it's important that you don't, again, lose yourself and only identify as the fighter. You are more than just what you do. So I think it is important to have moments and glimpses of something that ties you or grounds you, to remember that. And then I feel like part of the reason why is because then I am reminded that I actually want to do this, but I don't have to do this. So when I do spend time and I turn off and I spend time with my partner, with my dogs, with friends or whatever that may be, maybe 10 minutes of playing video games, it's like I do that, I enjoy it, and then if I have any moment or feeling of guilt, it's like, that to me just means that it's like, I actually want to do this. So now I go back and I keep doing all the things I'm doing. But certainly most of the rest of my life gets cut out when you're like leading up to a fight, because that's why.
Yeah.
Obviously, diet is one of those things. Very, diet routine, big on, very regimented, and just eliminating distractions. And I think being a bit more cutthroat on where your energy lies and things that aren't aligning with what you want, whether that be, fighting related or other. Like if you're recovering and someone wants to do something and you're like, no, I need this time to nap.
Yeah.
It's making those decisions that align with the person that you want to be and the goals that you're chasing, as opposed to like, would be nice right now.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think there's such a duality in that with fighters in particular, because the flip side you were alluding to is you hear a lot of guys, gals on the mic after a fight who are like, I live this. This is all I have. And I guess I'm curious, and maybe you haven't even experienced it yet, maybe you've observed it though, of when you make one thing everything, failure seems to have such more detriment to, your longer term success. Because how many times have we seen a fighter who was on a 12-0 streak they get that KO, right? They finally experience a knockout, and 3 fights in a row, they get defeated again. And is it because they weren't spreading themselves out a little bit more?
Possibly. Again, I think this whole thing of identifying as what you do and having nothing else, and you tying your worth, it doesn't even have to be a loss. A lot of the times, like, it's getting injured. You can't do the thing that you say you are. So what are you?
Yeah.
But in reality, you're so much more than that. Fighting is what you do, and it may be everything to you. But my biggest thing is about mindset in general with everything that I do, as I feel like there is a big difference, and it's the same as what we're kind of saying, between it's all or nothing versus I'm all in.
Yeah.
So I'm an all in.
That's a good distinction.
Right? Because all or nothing is, it's all or nothing. I either go to the gym and do every session, every set, everything, or I don't go today. Or it's like, I have to make this, I have to win this, or I am worthless. I am nothing. If I can't be UFC champion, or I can't make the UFC, if I can't win this fight, I'm nothing. You're putting that on yourself, that you are worthless, and you're tying your value to what you do, but also you're tying your value to an outcome, which we're in fighting. It's 50-50. Someone has to lose every fight, right? And it's so funny though, because as fighters, we have favorite fighters.
For sure.
Lose a fight and we're like, we still love them. We're like, I can't wait to see them like come back. And we love a story where they come back with more fire in their belly and they do even more amazing, and then we forget that they ever lost, right? But we don't feel like that about ourselves as fighters. Whereas
you're your own harshest critic.
100%.
Yeah.
But when we tie our worth to an outcome that we have no real control over, like, we obviously control how we can perform, but anything can happen in a fight.
Yep.
And you tie your worth to a mistake or someone just being better than you. Like, I see people break. And yeah, as you were saying, sometimes they don't come back. Sometimes they have a few fights, lose, and then that's it. They're gone from the sport when they really could have had everything they wanted. And if you have the mindset of it's all or nothing, is very different to, well, I'm all in, regardless of what happened. If I lose a fight, if I get injured, if, whatever it is, I'm all in. I'll give everything I have and that I can on each day. Today might be 10%, tomorrow might be 100%, the next day maybe 20%. Whatever it is, I'm going to give it. I'm going to keep going no matter what. Is like, those are the people that are dangerous, because they're going to keep doing it. They're going to keep pushing. They don't care. They're not just tied to an outcome. You know that they're going to get up, come back harder, come back better. Those are the people that you see in post-fight interviews that don't go, oh, well, I didn't have a good camp and I, whatever. Those are the people like, I got beaten by the better person.
Yeah.
I got things to work on. They come back even better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like you touched on something that I think is a pro in that sort of pro-cons conversation to being a little bit older in your entrance into the sport. What you're saying sounds incredibly mature to me. And I don't think it's something that fighters necessarily get to in their early 20s. We see prototypical UFC fighter gets in at 22 to 24 because then they have the next 10 plus years to really peak. I don't know if they get to that level of, I don't know if the word's comfort, you could probably speak to it better, but like maturity until they've gone through the adversity. How do you get to, Khabib's 29-0 if he never lost? And I think he'd probably say, I've lost in the gym hundreds of times.
Yeah.
The adversity, I guess my question is, it's necessary for longer term success, you think?
I think so. Adversity and learning how to deal with it. Adversity doesn't have to be losses. Like, we often see people with really crappy life situations that have dealt with adversity in their life be really successful fighters.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is one of the attributes of a successful fighter, is being able to see the goal, push through adversity, deal with it, do whatever they have to do, come back better, keep working on it, like take any setbacks in their stride. And yeah, it sucks, and yeah, it's tough and it's hard and it's not easy, and this sport is very unforgiving. But I think, like anything, like even if we talk business, most entrepreneurs will tell you their biggest successes were right after they were about to quit. walk away, and I think that's the same thing in anything that you do. If you are absolutely relentless and you're going to come back no matter what, you're dangerous. Like, you will put in the work and keep going. Whereas if you're like, well, it's all or nothing and I didn't get to what I wanted to get to and I've had this setback, well, why even bother?
I think you had that mindset before you got into fighting, honestly. It's a vulnerable question, but I'm curious.
I think it's developed a lot over fighting, and I think fighting has certainly helped that. I think everybody usually has some kind of adversity in their life, right? Experiences something. Yeah, we all have our story.
In America, we say everybody's got their shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice. Yeah.
So I think like things in life have shaped my perspective and my thought process, seeing other people and helping other people and seeing people go through stuff like that too. I think fighting has played a big role in that because like I've had heaps of adversity in my fight career, heaps, and just in my life. Like I'm actually just coming off a big break where I had been injured and I've been out for ages. And again, I think I would have lost my mind and I would have packed it up and I wouldn't still be in the sport if I didn't have this mindset. Like I would have gone, well, it was all or nothing and I'm a fighter. I can't fight. Who am I? I'm nothing.
Yeah.
And
did that fit for you after that moment is what you're saying maybe? Or
no, I think I needed that mindset to be able to get through all of those things. So I think fighting has strengthened it and made it more like clearer for me. I think I've had it for a long time, but I think it really brought it to the surface.
I guess another angle on that similar question though, like what would your tribe, your friends, your people say? Was there a difference, pre-fighting career, Danielle, versus post-fighting career?
Interesting. I had to think about that.
That's fine.
Because it's interesting because...
I threw out the big guns now that we've been talking.
Yeah. No, well, it's interesting because I think back to when I started fighting.
Maybe he could answer that. Did he know you before fighting?
No.
Well, damn it.
No.
I guess not.
But I think back to like when I started fighting, that was a shock for people. But now that I've been doing it for quite a while, like the same people are like, it makes sense. Like, I feel like you were meant to do this. So I feel like it's even been a change in them. Like, Obviously very shocking, I think, because I wasn't athletic. And so like the surface level attributes that I had, not really athletic, was nerdy, very, very nice, like not confrontational, not anything, not aggressive, none of those things. So I think on the surface level, people are like, why do you want to fight? I don't understand. But then later down the track, they realize that all the other attributes that I had is perfect for fighting. Hard work, resilience, determination, like all of the things that we've just talked about. I've had those things. They were just utilized for other things, and so I think that the perception even of those people has probably changed. As in, like, in the beginning they probably would say that there was a big difference between who I was before and who I was as a fighter, but I think now they'd be like, well, no, you're still the same person, we're just seeing those certain attributes really shine through.
Yeah I mean, that's honestly, and this isn't about me, but the central thesis of our entire podcast is about trying to break down the misconception of who fighters really are.
Yeah.
And you described it with similar words that I use regularly, who fighters are and who they aren't, right? Bullies, aggressive, lack of vulnerability. Every single athlete in the sport that I've spoken with on or off pod are not those people. And they're some of the most, vulnerable, beautiful, and sensitive creatures, that you can come across. So I always want to get the pre and post career perspective, because I think it'll also serve to eventually, which is another question I wanted to know, being like, if you were ever a mother, would you allow your children to fight?
Absolutely.
You're the first person to say that to me.
100%.
Okay.
Because I think, one, I would let my child do whatever they want. But secondly, regardless of them fighting, doing combat sports brings you so much in life, especially as a female, but male, female, outside of the fighting component, as you talked about, some of the greatest people are within the combat sports community. Just the most wonderful human beings. Outside of that, doing combat sports of any variety teaches you so many things that translate into how you live your life. So it teaches you, obviously, things like hard work, dedication, teaches you how to lose because you lose millions of rounds in the gym, teaches you how to deal with adversity, pressure, stress, all of those things that I think a lot of young people are not really dealing with very well at the moment.
We could talk about that. I completely share that mindset.
Yeah. And, they
avoid adversity versus know how to get through it.
Yeah. And they're and when you're being smothered by someone bigger than you, all the time, and you're rolling and you're sore and you're tired, but you still show up, that sets you up for everything in life, whether it's just going to your job when you don't want to, or dealing with losing, or dealing with not getting something that you wanted, or having to work for something. But even just things as simple as discipline, respect, loyalty, genuine care for other human beings. All of those things are so important, and you see it in everyone of any age that does combat sports. You see the kids doing jiu-jitsu or, whatever, they understand and how they cope. I see when they walk in the door versus they've been training for a year, how they deal with outside life, I feel changes. There's a bit more confidence, or, they deal with bullies better, or they deal with pressures better, or they come in, they have an outlet.
Okay.
And, I just sort of see how positive that is. And then, if my child wanted to fight, well, sure. As long as you do the work, though, you do the work, you understand the repercussions, the costs, the consequences, it's up to you.
I feel like a lesson learned individually is always going to be more profound than a lesson trying to be taught to you.
Yeah.
And perhaps fighting provides a little bit of that, wherein when you're rolling, you're striking, right? If something goes wrong, yes, the coaches prepare you. They're on the side of the cage yelling at you to do this differently, but it's kind of on you, right?
100%.
So you have to understand that, the success and the failure, while not completely on you, right? Because you are taught, you are coached, it still is technically individual sport.
And I think that's part of what I loved about it, is that there's team sports are fun, right? Because of the culture. But if you want to do well, you only have such a small percentage of influence on that. You could be doing everything right, and there's someone lazy that doesn't care, and that impacts on whether you win or lose.
Yeah.
Whereas combat sport, because they're individual sports, as you said, it's on you. Yes, you still have that team aspect, because you can't do the sport without your team. You can't even train without your team, right? So you still care, you still have that aspect, that community. But when you compete, doesn't matter whether it's a fight, a competition, jiu-jitsu, wrestling, whatever. Yeah, it's on you. And you fall to your level of preparation. And so it basically comes down to, well, did you prepare?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is important to learn, and learn early.
I think that's exactly where I was going. But I'm curious also, you still have another job, right?
Oh, yeah, I have a full-time.
Yeah, I wanted to hear a little bit about that, and then we can kind of tie it into fighting. But what is it that you do?
I have a government job.
Really?
Yeah,
okay.
A full-time government job. So
do you? Oh man, this is perfect then, because I didn't know what it was that you did for a living outside of fighting. But God, what if any impact has that made on your success in your daytime job? We'll call it.
Oh. See, this is the thing. This is what I was saying about. I feel like all of my attributes as a fighter, it's so funny, make me better at my corporate government job. Right?
Okay.
I work for the federal government, and I feel like it's. I I don't feel like I get nearly as stressed as everybody else. You know?
Okay.
Whether it's the workload, talking to people, like there's people that are scared to pick up a phone, right? Those things, I don't know.
Getting your nose broken scarier than picking up a phone.
Way scarier than you. Public speaking or running a meeting or whatever, or just I'll do that. Do you know how to do it? I'll figure it out. Like, but even just concentrating on having multiple tasks and projects, it's not as hard as the repercussions aligned with seeing everything happening. But again, discipline, hard work, focus. Like when I am doing the task, I am present in it, which I've learned so much from fighting, because you have to be present, even at sparring. If you're off somewhere else mentally, you're getting punched in the face, right?
Yeah.
You're half a second behind. But just all of the qualities and everything that I've learned through combat sports, I think has made me like way more successful in my daytime job.
Maybe this is a cheeky question, as you guys would say.
Yeah.
What's harder to deal with, failing at your day job or failing at fighting?
Harder to deal with.
Like an annoying boss or the disapproving coach? If either exist.
They're very different though, because, I feel like anything work related is a bit annoying, but also for me, I have a full-time job to pay the bills.
Yeah.
That's not my passion.
I have a full-time job to pay my bills. This is my passion.
If someone wants to, be shitty at me for something, and cool, that sounds like a you problem. Like, as long as I haven't done something wrong, because obviously working for the government, there is real tangible repercussions there. Yeah, yes.
But are they as big as blowing out your ACL or losing consciousness? I don't know. I'm baiting you into this answer, by the way.
There's lots of the government's money or something like that on the line. I feel like that's kind of stressful, but stressful in a different way. So I think it's one of those things like you prepare for a fight, you are trying to do everything to make sure you don't get hit, right? So same thing, you prepare properly before you do things that might have repercussions.
Yeah.
So you learn that. In terms of what's more like harder to deal with, I definitely think the fighting side of it, because there is so much involved. It is because you care so much, and I care about my job, absolutely. And I do everything to the best of my ability in my job. And that has definitely come from fighting, is like everything I do, I try to do it the best that I can. But at the end of the day, it's my job. I leave it at the door when I leave. I don't think about it. I think about fighting all the time. I think about where I want to go, what my passions are, whatever. And if I can't get something, or I've lost, like, that hurts. A part of you dies every time you lose.
Yeah.
But, even just if your coach didn't like something or whatever, I feel like that, again, because it's everything you want to do and you put your heart and soul into it, but also like that you're putting everything you have into it. That is harder to, I think, deal with in general, like emotionally, good, bad, whatever, like trying not to do the absolute roller coaster. When they say highest highs, lowest lows, it really is, even if you try to be a little bit, mindful of that.
Do you think in both aspects of your life, we'll say both jobs within your life, and I know one is obviously more of a passion, do you think the fear of failure is more powerful than the celebration of success?
Yeah.
I've never heard another answer. And that's not just fighters. I think that's, I want to say athletes, but it's even more than just athletes too.
Yeah. I feel like it's very hard. And I've spoken about this before, and it was interesting. I had put up a post of saying, like, I feel like I don't celebrate my wins. I just look to the next thing, right? That I'm not very good at celebrating my wins, but it actually took someone messaging me and having a back and forth that actually opened my eyes. Celebrating your wins is not necessarily going out and celebrating.
Mm-hmm.
This person asked me, and they'd done some mental stuff at like the AIS, the Australian Institute of Sport and stuff, and they said, well, what do you do after a win? And I said, well, I might eat some food that night, but then after that, I just start preparing for what I want. I will review it. I'll go, yep, I did this good. I did that good.
Take your inventory.
Didn't do this good. Didn't do that, but I do try to balance it with these are the things that I did well. I'll review it. I will review how did my fight camp go, all of those things, set my goals and set new goals based off of what happened. But I don't really do anything. I've achieved things that I thought I never would, and I didn't really get too high about or whatever. And they said, well, you are actually celebrating your wins. You're acknowledging everything that happened. You're just not chucking a party about it. And that's what the most successful athletes do, is that they look at it, they review it, they use that as tangible evidence to where they want to go.
Yeah.
And that is celebrating it. And that flipped my mindset, and I've taken that with me now, that I used to say that, I don't celebrate things and I'm just looking for the next thing, kind of but in doing that and not getting too high or getting too low allows me to just keep going and focusing and taking from that experience. I think my mindset has changed on that a little bit, but still absolutely the fear of failure is a big one. I think everybody experiences that, right? Because if you care about something, then it means a lot to you.
It's such an interesting take, because I have this theory that the type of athlete, the echelon of athlete, or just professional for that matter, would say after everything is said and done, that the journey to get to, let's say, the desired success point, right? Like the end goal for you, the journey to get there was more valuable than maybe even attaining it.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
I agree. And I think I've personally tried to put a lot more focus on loving every moment of training camp. Mm-hmm. I love the grind. I love everything. I love trying to make a better version of myself, because essentially that's what we're doing, right? We're getting better every fight. We are chasing the dream, but sometimes I try to ground myself, why do I want to do that? But I definitely think the journey is what you're going to look back on. You'll look at the accolades, sure, but you're also going to look at, I met the most amazing people. I got in the best shape of my life. I fought in different countries, or I traveled, or I had wars with some of the greatest fighters, it's going to be those experiences and those moments and the way that the sport made you feel, that I think you'll carry with you, because people won't remember names. When you're a great, grandparent, they'll be like, oh yeah, cool, you fought, but they won't know the people that you're fighting.
Yeah.
I agree. I think it's the journey. And I think part of the reason why the journey is so important is because of it's the part that makes you who you are, right?
Yeah. You become something different.
Yeah.
Versus achieving something.
Yeah. So it's what makes you who you are. Yeah. And essentially, if you get to a point in life where you're happy and you say you're successful or you enjoy life, it's because you've done all those things to get you there.
The wealth of success, to put one, characteristic to it, that can disappear. But the growth personally and mentally, right? That's something that you'd hope would stay with you.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like regardless of whether I win or lose my next fight, I'm still proud of the person I am right now. And so therefore, I'm very proud of every step I've ever taken to get to right now. And I know in 6 months' time, I'll be a better version of myself, and I'll be, happy that win, lose, draw, whatever I've done between now and then, I'll be happy about, I
have a sneaky confession. I selfishly do this podcast just because talking to people like you motivates me.
Aww.
So I'm stealing, I'm sponging up all of your, your inspiration and your energy when we talk like this. But then again, I have to kind of ask the question, let's say tomorrow, two things could happen. Mm-hmm. One, your day job, they're willing to double your salary right on the spot. Fuck it, triple it. Or two, Dana gives you a 4-fight contract. What do you want more?
the contract.
100%?
Yeah.
Okay. Even if it was less than the pay of the job?
Could not give a crap.
I believe you. I thought maybe you'd have broke on that a little bit more. Because sometimes, like, and you're clearly...
And this is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, I'm older. I have the ability to chase going up the ladder in my job. I don't. I have openly said in my job, I don't want to go any higher than what I am right now because the responsibility level obviously goes up with pay and all of those kind of things. This is the absolute maximum level that I'm willing to go to because I'm focusing on this.
Yeah.
Like, I need to pay the bills, and this job helps facilitate that. I like what I do. And I'm still at that level where I can have some like flexibility and time off and all of those things. Whereas you go up and up and up, you're like pigeonholing yourself and you're making it more difficult. Like, if someone paid for my bills so I could live, I would quit my job today.
Yeah. Same with me.
Yeah.
Perfectly honest. Like, this is exactly what I want to do. Talking to awesome and motivating people like you in a sport that I love more than anything. I asked the question because one of my buddies who's actually staying here, he's fighting next week. He had a brief stint in the UFC, and then he was also in Glory. He had a big, regional career too as well. He had another job, and he got into the UFC with that job, and then he had to take a moment and sort of reconsider how he wanted to approach things. And then, he got his second stint, on the Contender Series. And it was then that I think, and I could be botching the timing on it, but it was then that he went full throttle in on fighting. And I feel like your mindset is so ironclad. I'm wondering what would it take to be able to get you to make that sacrifice, or is it even possible? Because I feel like you're there. I mean, I've talked to a lot of fighters, and you're as solid as any of them mentally. And I've seen, some physical performances in the cage, and they're amazing too. I'm just
Thank you.
curious what it would take to be able to get you there. Is it possible?
To quit my day job, literally would just need enough money to pay my bills and training. Is really the crux of it, because my beautiful partner and we do own a house, and that's the difficulty, right? Because I have a mortgage.
You have responsibility?
I have responsibilities, and that's one of those things that maybe, because I am a bit older or something, that I did work, and it's not just me, but I think it's just that. I think it's literally just that, like, I would probably fear that I won't be able to eat if I were to, but if I could find a different way to make some money and have even more flexibility, I would. But I also will say government jobs are pretty good. Like, in terms of flexibility, there's a lot of attributes to those jobs that you don't get in other jobs because they're at a much bigger level. So it's not like you're working, for a private enterprise where you are not replaceable. Like, the thing is with government, it's a whole government, right, of people. So when you need a day off, I have never been told, no, you can't have that day off, ever.
That's very different than government jobs in our country.
Yeah. But that is because there is quite a lot of people, right? And someone can come in and replace me for a certain amount of time, or we don't ever get overtime or anything, but we do get flex leave. So if I'm working more hours than what I'm meant to be working, then it sits there and I can use those hours for time off, right? So I'm able to have more flexibility with the job that I have than I think a lot of other jobs. Obviously, I'm not getting paid some crazy amount, but, I have a stable income that's going to be coming in. So it's allowed me to do what I do so far.
Yeah.
However, yes, if all my bills are paid, I would quit it and just do nothing.
Do you guys have a lottery in Australia?
Yeah, we do.
Maybe try playing that way. Your fighting career is going to go to the moon and back. Maybe you win that.
Yeah. Well,
or become a road worker, because our Uber driver today told me that the road workers make an insane amount of money in this country.
They do, because it's deemed dangerous.
Okay.
Yeah.
He said that they make more than the engineers who are designing the roads they're working on. Is that true?
Would you say that, babe?
Yeah, it was worse.
Yeah.
That was a hard pill for me to swallow, because it is, again, not even close to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I guess that's considered sort of dangerous. And again, as Jared's saying, hours work, they're just on the road, all day. And versus, the people who design it probably don't spend as many hours. I don't know.
I just brought it up just because I thought it was kind of funny.
Yeah.
I was trying to get another Aussie's perspective if that's true or not.
Yeah, I would say it probably is, yeah.
So what's 26 look like for you? What are you trying to accomplish here? What is the year going to bring you?
Well, I decided in January that 2026 is going to be the year that changes my life. So I don't know what it's going to be yet, but it's going to change my life, and I'll tell you at the end of 2026 how that went.
I think we should try to probably set up another combo to see what that looks like, how we measure that up. I want 26 to change my life too.
Yeah.
I'm hoping it happens for both of us.
Well, we don't want it. It's happening. I've just decided that it's happening.
Perfect. That's what I'm talking about. We're going to manifest it into reality. We're not going to give it to chance.
Yeah. Big year of fighting, and it all starts in March.
Yeah? Where can we tune in to watch that fight?
UFC Fight Pass.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'll be fighting on 7th of March on Shuriken Fight Series in Auckland, in New Zealand. I'm fighting a girl from New Zealand from City Kickboxing.
Okay.
It should be a really, really good fight.
We know some fighters.
I'm excited. Yeah, we know some fighters in that gym. Yeah.
A buddy of ours has a fight in Dubai, actually, next weekend. He was training there, Rob Wilkinson.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's I had him on the pod a couple of months back, and we just missed seeing him here too. He could have been in here and had a real good time, but I'm super excited to see that fight coming up March 7th, you said?
Yep.
Yeah. I really appreciate the time for you guys coming out. I know it's a bit of a drive, but talking to people like you, getting your story and being able to share it out is really exciting for us.
Oh, I appreciate it. Thank you so much for reaching out and having me. I
of course.
absolutely loved having this chat, and just, love speaking about combat sports because it's my passion.
Yeah. I appreciate you guys coming. Oh,
well, yes.
Turn your mic up so everybody hears it too.
I also have a podcast. It's called Drop Bear Downpour. You can find it on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. But I also just started my YouTube channel, Drop Bear MMA. You can find me on all social media, Drop Bear MMA, Instagram, everything. And I'm currently doing some vlogs. So I'm trying to start mine. And hopefully snippet of this will be in there too. So if you are interested in finding out a bit more about me and following me throughout fight camp, I've got plenty of content that I'm trying to put out there, and
share it.
It's all too. Yeah, it's all me just trying to do it all, trying to share the journey.
Fighting on top of the government job, on top of life, you're doing it all.
Yeah, I'm also a matchmaker for a fight show. Jared and I commentate fight shows most weekends, also coach and corner fighters as well.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
I'm gonna share it all. I'm gonna view it all, and I'm looking forward to seeing the success that 26 brings.
Oh, thank you, and to you too. We're gonna shoot this podcast, right?
I'm sure we are.
You're gonna get a Joe Rogan deal by the end of 2026, right?
I'll just take being able to pay off the equipment. Yeah.
Fair.
All right. Well, we appreciate it. Thanks for tuning into the episode, guys. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.